Thanks for tuning into this episode of Walden Wong Art. And today, I'm going to do an unboxing. As I'm filming this, I don't really know exactly what's inside. But after I edit it, I'll know what's inside and then I'll title it accordingly. But you're going to be watching me open this for the first time. So my surprise or of whatever this thing is will be the same feeling that you guys will be getting. So let's open this up and see what it is. Before I open it up, let me tell you a bit about myself. My name is Walden Wong. I'm a comic book artist. I work for Marvel Comics and DC Comics. You can check out my website. My website is waldenwongart.com, and I also have a Patreon page. My Patreon is patreon.com/waldenwongart. I'll add all those links below the video description, so if you want to look me up, check it out. So let's see what's in here. Okay, so here's the box right over here. Let's see where it's from. It says it's Image Comics Perfect. So let's open up this guy and see what it is. Okay, cut this here. Looks like there's another box. Let's take this out. Okay, nothing in there. There's another box. Okay, some faint lettering here. Let's see what this is. Okay, it looks like it's been cut open. So let's cut this open. And see what this is. Okay, more bubble wrap. Let's take them all out. Right here. Let's take a look at the spine. This is the spine. They sent me 10 copies of this. Or the Jupiter's Legacy from Image Comics. Okay, let's take a look inside. Here's the back. Cover price for this is $16.99 US, ISBN. So if you want to get one of these for yourself, I'll add links below, Amazon links, so you can order one of these. So these are advanced copies. As a comic book artist, we get comp copies before it's published in weeks in advance. And then here's this volume 2 trade paperback. And let's take a look inside. Right over here. Okay, so Wilford Torres worked on chapters 1 and 2, and then those pages. And then Chris Sprouse and Walden Wong worked on chapter 3, right over here. Pencils for chapter 3, breakdowns for chapter 3, and then that issue. Let's take a look inside. Well, let's take a look at all these. You know what? Wouldn't it be neat if we saw some of the original art to this? Chris Sprouse did breakdowns for it, and then I did the finishes on this. So you know what? Let me go get the original art. For those of you who landed on my video, if you want to look at this book, I'm going to show you each page so you can see if you want to order it on your own. You can order it through my Amazon links below. And not only am I going to show you this book, I'm also going to show you the original art that I've worked on it. So for our original art collectors or art people who admire art, you can just look at this and then watch this. So I have a very good amount of stacks. Chris Sprouse and I, the penciler and I, we worked on 3 issues together. So this is all of what's inside. And I'm gonna show you right over here. So let's take a look. So we're gonna go one page at a time. So here, and feel free to pause the video if you wanna take a closer look. Okay, so here's the credits. Okay, this is the cover. Bill Sienkiewicz did the covers. Bill Sienkiewicz is such a great artist. So that's his covers for, so when it's chapter 1, it was like a issue 1 of the original series. It's called Jupiter's Legacy, but on the comic book version that we worked on, it's called Jupiter's Circle 2. So right here, here's some of the art. These aren't art that I worked on, but I'm going to flip through the whole book to let you guys see what's inside. And again, if you want to order it on Amazon, links below the video description. Anything you order, I get a little bit of a commission. Thank you so much for ordering through using my Amazon links. I also have an Amazon store underneath the video description that shows you all the graphic novels that I've worked on. So you can go and check it out. And I also have a link to all the art tools. So those of you who are an artist and want to use some of the same tools that I use in some of my previous videos, take a look there and order away. A lot of good stuff over there. This is chapter 2. And I started working with Chris Sprouse starting with chapter 3. So here's some of the insides of the comic. Okay, let's take another look. Very nice art, very good story. And those of you who are following along, there's going to be a Netflix series coming out soon under Jupiter's Legacy. So stay tuned, like a Netflix series. This is a Netflix version of the graphic novel. Okay, so coming up here, there's Utopia and just some backgrounds over there. This guy kind of reminds me of a Batman, just without the ears. Right over here, very cool character, a little mustache and in the beard over there. And then right here, this is when Chris Sprouse and I started working on a book. Carl Story, he inked some of the earlier pages, and then he was busy working on Black Panther, I believe. And then Chris Sprouse contacted me and asked me to do finishes, because he was working on a bunch of projects at the same time. I love working with Chris. He's a really great artist, a nice draftsmanship. So I started on this page right here. And here's the original art to that page. Here, let's take a look at the art here. And then we'll flip through each one. I know there's a gloss here, but we'll look at the original art here. Here's the original art. Okay, here's the next page where he's swinging the golf ball. And some of you recognize this image because I recently posted it on my social media, on Instagram, Facebook, all my social media, so you'll recognize this. Someone even commented, that looks like Superman hitting a golf ball. And here's the original art for that page, right over here. Okay. And then I'll show you all the art that I've done for this book. So Chris and I, we worked on 2.5 issues. So right here, here's this page, and this one. So here's the next page, this page right over here. And then we'll go on to this page. So check out the original art on this page. So when I first started on this project, Chris called me and asked, Walden, can you do finishes on this? So he would provide the layouts and I would just do finishes. And in the beginning, I had a good amount of time, but towards the end, it was a little bit of a rush, and then I stopped filling in some of the ink areas, and I did that on the computer. So here's this. And eventually, if I have time, I'm just going to go back in there and fill out all those other ink areas. And I'll show you what I mean later on when I get to those original art pages. Here's this page. Yeah, so all the art that I've done on Jupiter's Circle, Jupiter's Legacy, I still have. So if anyone's interested in buying some of my original art, I have a link on my website where you can purchase original art as well as prints. So check that out under my website, waldenwongart.com. This is such a nice page over here. I remember working on the ninjas. Everything was all black, and then there was white lines. When Chris drew, he just drew black lines. He would just indicate that all this area is black, all this area is black, and he would draw black lines. So what I do is I would just ink around his lines. So I fill everything in black, and I would ink around his pencil lines. That's how I create these white effect. So right over here, that's the published page. Here's the original art. We're going to move on to this one here. Here's the printed image, and here's the original art. If I put them right next to each other, you can see the difference in scale. So here's that. And this was a fun page. I enjoy working on this one. The skeleton over here. The skeleton, the ribs, all of that. The hardest part on working on these characters is putting the names in there. That took a little bit more time. I had to think about what I was doing. Okay, and then we have the next page here. Okay, comment down below if you're looking forward to watching the Netflix series. Okay, right over here. Okay, here's the original art. Printed piece. And if you enjoy these videos where I'm showing the printed book, and this book should be out anytime soon. If you enjoyed me showing you these videos along next to the original art, please comment down below so I know that you're interested in seeing more of these. So in the future, anytime I get complimentary copies from the publishers and weeks before it comes out, I'll show it, I'll make a video on it so you can see it. Okay, here's the original art here. Okay, so the art boards I've used, I went and bought my Canson art boards. Here's another cover from Bill Sienkiewicz. Very, very nice work. So Bill Sienkiewicz is right over, let me show you how his name is, right here, right here. Bill Sienkiewicz. Before I knew how to pronounce his name, I thought it was Bill Sienkiewicz, but it's not Bill Sienkiewicz, it's Bill Sienkiewicz. I met him one time at the Inkwell Awards. I actually met him a few times. He's a very, very kind person. One time, I remember after a convention, I was going home in the airport, and I went to a Starbucks, and he was there too. So we just said hello, talked for a little bit, and then on our way. So here's this page. So as I was doing this, lots of design work. Lots of fun stuff. Okay, and then we'll go on to the next page right over here. This is a fun character. Now, if you know the names of the character, feel free to comment down below. Let me know what you think of this series, if you read this series. This was for Image Comics. Mark Millar was the penciler. I'm sorry, Oops. See, that's what happens when you're talking and then Siri turns on. Mark Millar was the writer. Chris Sprouse was the penciler, doing the layouts. And then me, myself, Walden Wong, I was the person who was inking and doing the finishes. And the colorist was, let's see who the colorist was. The colorist was Ivy Sorvasina. Okay, apologies if I pronounced the name wrong. Here's the original art to this page. And the printed page, look how dynamic that it looks. Okay, here's this page over here with the skeleton. Okay, and we'll go on and look at the rest of them. So we're halfway there with all the original art, but this book was a little bit more lengthy in pages. So here's this one. Newton and Darwin. Earlier we saw Tesla. And here's this character. And he reminded me of Batman every time I worked on him. Every time. So there's a little bit of a white ink on top of black ink. Okay, we're going to go to the next page here. And for those of you who keep track of artists, Mark Millar, the writer on this, he also created a Kick-Ass, It Girl. And many, many years ago, he and we worked on Superman Red Sun together for DC Comics, one of the first earlier Elseworld books. So we worked on Superman Red Sun together. And then when Mark emailed me, Mark and Chris, they emailed me asking if I would be interested in working on this. I was ecstatic, very excited to be working with Mark again. And I was already working with Chris Sprouse on Black Panther, so it was a nice transition to work on this. Yeah, I can't wait to see the Netflix series myself. It's going to be fun just to see how they translate the characters into to the modern video TV world. Just like how a lot of times you're watching movie characters, they look slightly different than the way it's drawn in comic books. So right here is when the deadline started hitting the fan. And instead of me filling all the black areas, I started just inking the outsides, and I would go in there with Photoshop, a computer software, and I would drop in all the blacks. And then here, like right here, I'll mark a little X here to remind myself where it's supposed to be black. Okay. So right here, this is how I can get pages done quicker. So, it may seem like an easy task, just filling in blacks, and then, why don't Walden just go in there and fill it? Because sometimes filling in the black areas, it would just take like another hour. Or if I did 5 pages, that's like 5 hours. So if I just did this and just drop it in on a computer, it would just help with the speed of time. And then before I make these available for sale, usually I'll go back in there and I'll just use ink and I'll fill them back in again. So here's the printed book. Here's the original art. So with the black, he looks pretty cool. Without the black, it's just like that. So I go in Photoshop, I'll select the area, and then I'll drop in the inks, which only takes about maybe 5 seconds. Okay, here's this page, the original art. Very groovy here, all these cells that's moving around. And then we go on to the next page. Some areas, sometimes when I'm making, it just naturally it's easier for me to just ink in all the blacks and then save the bigger areas for later. Like the skeleton, if I'm gonna just do the outline, I might as well just ink in all the black areas right then and there because they're so small. And then the big areas, I'll just come back later. Usually I like to complete all the blacks when I have time, but when deadline is coming and there's a lot of ink areas, I'll just drop it in with the computer. And then as I have leisure time, I'll go back in there and then I'll fill in the blacks by hand so the original art will look nice. Okay, here's this one, this page. Very, very cool. Okay, publish page. Okay, right here, here's a very nice, iconic page. This page looks very cool. Here's the original art. They're all walking out. Okay. There's a nice panel up here, and then all the background is just black. So in the comic, I just dropped in the black, all the black inks. Okay, very cool panel. Okay, and then here's the next page. The original art to this. Look at the worm's eye view of these characters in the second panel. Very cool. Chris is such a great artist. Chris is an amazing artist. Okay, we're going to continue looking here. So right here, Chris penciled in some of the text. Like I'll print it out. I'll print it out in blue. But instead of me inking it by hand, I went in there with Photoshop and I'll drop in the letters by hand. So I did that. I just added text and then I adjusted the size and I tilted to make it fit better. So I'll scan the artwork. After I scan the artwork, I'll add in the text myself. I could have just let the letterer do it, but I figure I might as well just do it myself since I'm in there dropping in blacks anyway. Okay, here's the original art to this piece. And here's a printed page. Look how much dynamic it is with the inks. Okay, and here's some of Bill Sienkiewicz's. Look at that cover. Look at the way he does art. It's just so amazing. And then here we have the original art to this page. Here's a printed page. Nice glossy paper. I remember when I first started collecting comics, comic books were printed on newsstand. It's this kind of like a newspaper feel. But now, and then with those newspaper feel, you keep those comics for a good amount of years and they will start fading and turning yellow. Comics these days, they're printed on this nice glossy, sort of like a school textbook, maybe even better than a school textbook. And the colors are so much more vibrant and it doesn't turn yellow. I don't know if it'll ever turn yellow in a long time, but this nice glossy paper, it's just great for computer colors, great for maintaining your book to last. This kind of reminds me of a Hall of Justice in the Justice League. So here's the original art. Here is the printed book. Okay, let's look at this one. And this reminds me of a panel that I worked on, inking over Dave Johnson on Superman Red Sun. This area, okay, I remember inking an image where there was an airplane there and a dinosaur there too. So this reminds me of a page that I worked on, Superman and Red Sun, inking over Dave Johnson. Dave Johnson, he's a cover artist for Marvel Comics and DC Comics. He does a lot of cover work, but back then he worked on Superman Red Sun on some interior pages, and I got the opportunity to ink him on some Superman Red Sun with Batkov and Wonder Woman. That was a fun time. That was a very fun time. Okay, and then here's this page. Original art here. It's a printed page. Again, if for those of you who are looking to order this book, check out the book here. You can look at the original book here. You also look at the original art. For those of you who enjoy looking at original art, here's original art. And if you wanted to order a copy of this on Amazon, again, links below the video description, so you can order it there. Anything you order, I get a little bit of commission kickback. Thank you for doing that. All of this was pretty quick to ink. These little guys here took me a while. Anything that's smaller just takes a little bit more time. Anything that's bigger, I can ink fairly quickly. Okay. And then as I went on, you notice that I'll put little X's to remind myself where the black areas are. I'll start switching over, and then here, I just use a marker, and I'll start putting red dots there. In the beginning of my career, I would put red dots there inking over original pencils. So sometimes when you're inking over original pencils and you erase it, you can't see where the X are. So what I've done is I'll just put red dots to remind myself where it needs to be blacked out later. Look at that explosion. Look how amazing. Chris just draws a few lines like that, and that's the explosion. Very, very, such a genius when it comes to art. Okay, right over here, here's this page. Here's original art. We're coming towards the end, almost towards the end of the original art that I've worked on, and then another artist took over. Look at all those red dots. I'll put it there. Even though I see that little blue, that little blue X that Chris penciled in. If you look over here, you kind of see those little blue X's. He just indicate where it's going to be black. So I just took a marker. When I'm done again, I just went dit, and just added those little blue dots so it reminds myself. And it's been maybe a year or so, and I haven't gotten back to it because I've been so busy. But eventually, if I have time, or if I bring these pages to a comic book convention and I'm getting ready to have it on display for people to like look at, I'll fill it in. But I wanted you guys to see how the original art looks before it was scanned for production. Okay, here's this page here. This is the last page I've inked, right over here. Actually, there's another page. This should be the next page. I've also inked the next page, which is this one, but I can't seem to find it in my original stack of art. So maybe it's been misplaced somewhere else. Because usually when I'm working on comic book art, I would just ink it and I'll put it away. If I'm working on 2 series, I'll ink 1 page and I'll just keep stacking on top. So it may just be in my art bin, not in order. Yeah, I think I did ink this. I remember doing these fences and the fish. Okay, let's continue looking at the rest of the book. Chris Sprouse and I, we just finished our part, and then another artist took over to get the book done quicker. So here's this. Okay, here's this. And this is quite a good amount of pages. Very nice book. Here. Looks like 2 different artists. Right here, this one's rendered this style, and all of a sudden this one's rendered another style. Not sure if it's the same. Let's see if it's the same artist working on those few pages. Chapter, oh, it looks like there's a different artists working on different pages. Okay, so that makes sense. More artists that works on a book, that means the deadline's coming up. So that's another way to tell if a book was falling behind on deadlines for printing. When you look at a book and you see a lot of pencilers or a lot of inkers or a lot of colors, that's when you know that the books was running short on deadline. And then publishers would just hire more artists to get the work done quicker, which is okay as long as it makes the deadline. And everything looks fairly similar. Okay, and here's the last few pages. And again, comment down below. Let me know what you think of this video. Comment down below if you know some of the characters. This looks like Clark Kent, doesn't he? Doesn't he look like Clark Kent? Look at that. That totally looks like Clark Kent. And this kind of, with the glasses and all. Okay, and Ma and Paul Kent right over here. Wow, this is pretty cool. Okay, then we're going to move on. So Mark Millar, when he was working on characters on his own universe, he likes the stories of Marvel characters and DC characters, and instead of using their characters, he just creates his own and then writes his stories. So that's pretty impressive of what he's able to do. Okay, here we go. And then we're coming on to the last few pages. Beach scene over here. And then here's this page. Sky Fox was here. I think that was something that we did earlier. Let's check it out. I remember doing that. I remember there was a scene that nope, this is Blue Bolt. So a different one. Okay. Also in a jail cell. Okay, we're going to look at this page. Over here. Netflix. Find out what happens next. Netflix. Volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, and we worked on volume 2 here, the Netflix reprints. And here are all, they have a picture of me on here. I didn't even know this. Wow. Where did they even get this photo from? This is pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to read it because I did not know that they were going to put. This is very impressive. A lot of times, publishers, they'll leave out the inker and they don't even write any forward or afterwards or a little something. Wow, they not only, some of the other people who worked on it, there's their names, but they put my photo there. That's pretty cool. Let's read it. Walden Wong is a well-respected veteran inker with a wide range of experience in the industry. Walden has worked with all the major studios, including many high-profile projects. Located in the San Francisco Bay Area, Walden has worked for practically every publisher out there, including DC, Marvel, Image, Dark Horse, and even Viz Media. You can see his name on a variety of titles every year. He can currently be found working around the clock at his studio inking. Here's Chris. Let's read Chris. Chris Sprouse has drawn comics for Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Image, and other publishers over a 2-decade career, working on stories and series featuring Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the X-Men, Luke Skywalker, and Darth Vader. Sprouse also illustrated writer Warren Ellis' science fiction graphic novel Ocean in 2004. But he may be best known for his work on Tom Strong, a series he designed and drew for Alan Moore, America's Best Comic. And here's Mark Millar. We have to read Mark Millar. He's a genius behind all of this. So Mark Millar is the New York Times best-selling author of Kick-Ass, Wanted, and Kingsman: The Secret Service. Look, all those movies is because of him, all of which have been adapted into Hollywood franchises. His DC comic work includes the seminal Superman, Red Sun. Yep, that's what we were talking about earlier. At Marvel Comics, he created the Ultimates, I also worked on Ultimates too. So we worked on a lot of books together, which was selected by Time Magazine as the comic book of the decade. He was described by screenwriter Zach Penn as his major inspiration for the Avengers movie. Miller also created Wolverine, Old Man Logan, and Civil War, Marvel's 2 biggest selling graphic novels ever. Civil War was the basis of the Captain America Civil War movie, and Old Man Logan was the inspiration for the Fox Logan movie in 2017. Mark has been an executive producer on all his movies, and for 4 years worked as a creative consultant to Fox Studios on their Marvel slate of movies. In 2017, Netflix thought Miller is the company's first ever acquisition and employed Mark as president of a new division to create comics, TV shows, and movies. His much anticipated autobiography, I'm Not Insulting You, I'm Describing You, will be published next year. Yeah, so these are all the artists. Wow, thank you, Mark, for putting my photo up there. Here's my mug. Yeah, thank you, Mark, for doing that. That was very nice of you. So that's the graphic novel. And then here's all the original art for the series that I've worked on. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Chris, for having me work on this. And then here's Jupiter's Legacy graphic novel. Get yours in store, order it on my Amazon links. I hope you enjoy this video, and let's take a look at the front cover and the back cover one more time. Here it is. Oh, these pages right over here. See if you can count them all. See if you can count them all. Look at that, right here. And then here's the book. You can look at here's the book right here. Da-da-da-da-da. Have a good time. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.